That doesn't. I guess Hey. So.
One second, guys.
Yeah. I went up Route 2 and then thought of you coming out of Cape St. Clair.
I had to drop my youngest son off at daycare in Annapolis, so then I had to get on 97, which is probably not any better.
Yeah. Okay. We're good. Okay, let's call this meeting to order. Appreciate everyone getting here. Again, thankful for the rain. We're very thankful for the rain at any of those conferences. Just want to take care of a little housekeeping first and introduce I didn't even know particular order, but our in-person, our new executive director, Katie. I think most of you saw the press release for when we hired Katie. Comes to us with a wealth of experience in the agricultural community, the business community, native of Minnesota and graduate of Minnesota. And we all good Big Ten colleagues here, so we're just gonna go with that. As most of you know, around the table, she did some visiting with board members and key players prior to starting in mid-August. So we are thrilled. Her undergraduate degree is from University of Minnesota, and then her agricultural economics degree is from Purdue, so you are Big Ten. We'll just have to get you some new clothing. Which then leads me to introduce someone who it's also getting new clothing. Dr. Wendy Powers joined the University of Maryland this summer as the new dean. She started on July 1st, also with a deep background in land-grant universities and experiences, background in animal sciences, which some of us around this table are a little biased to, so yay. But she has hit the ground running. We met her at the Maryland State Fair, and she's been out, I know, at many county fairs, seen her picture a lot. Comes to us at the University of Maryland from Washington State University. And she was the dean of the College of Agricultural, Human, and Natural Resource Sciences. So that's a mouthful, just like our College of Agriculture and Natural Resources is a mouthful. But I also always say, if you ate breakfast or flushed your toilet, you are part of the agricultural community. So Dr. Powers, you've got the whole gamut. And she, again, a lot of accolades, has was at the Iowa State University and Michigan State University, and then comes to us from Washington State. So again, welcome. Do you want to say anything while you're able to join us? I know Darren's here for the duration, but
yeah, thank you, everybody. So nice to meet you, and I really appreciate the opportunity to join by Zoom today. Eager to learn more about the work of this group and how the college can help. And also appreciate Dr. Jarbo's participation in person today. I have to step away in about 45 minutes, but looking forward to working with all of you and getting to know each of you in person at some point. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I can't hear anyone. I can't hear you. Good morning, everyone.
good morning.
Good morning. Hi, Gail. Thank you, everybody, to giving me the chance to join on Zoom. I'm looking forward to serve and be of service to the group.
Terrific. Yeah, we welcome her, and she's currently the executive director of the Italian Cultural Center of Maryland, which is now BIT Center, BIT Center. So she has been very involved with food and really fabulous program, Be a Chef for a Day, to involve children in preparing meals. And she's a native of Italy, and so just brings a whole different perspective to this. Peggy and I visited with her a little bit before she applied to join this board, and she was appointed during the past year. So welcome.
Yeah, when the meeting. You text me? I can go and share it.
We good. Okay. So, we could briefly go around the table just for because we have some new staff faces with us today as well.
Rebecca Freeman, Senior Captain, MFCA. I'm Vanessa, I'm the procurement officer of the IT.
Susan Summers, Maryland Agriculture Council. Stephanie Jordan and Trade Association.
Derek Jarbo, University of Maryland College Park.
Harry Greer representing Howard County.
Good morning, everyone. Cassie Scher, representing Secretariatics of the Maryland Department of Agriculture today.
Mary Wilkerson, Director of Finance and Real Estate, MFCA.
Derek Decker, Director of Market Operations, MFCA.
Miriam Sebron, I'm Assistant Attorney General and I'm counsel for the MFCA.
And I'm Katie Zink, I am the new Executive Director.
And over here in the corner, you can see her
Peggy
Peggy
Tori, and I'm the Executive Projects Coordinator.
and our terrific IT assistant today, who makes all this happen. And I'm Gail Geiser, retired from the university a few years ago, mostly with alumni and outreach programs for the College Dragon Natural Resources. A little more housekeeping. We realized sadly with the death of Jerry Klossmeyer now a couple of years ago, we need to have a third person on our procurement committee. We have Ryan, right? And Wendy. Where's Ryan? Log in, Ryan.
He's not here yet.
Okay. So with some of the things that Katie's going to be talking about, we will need to use that committee, not excessively, but importantly. That's the right terminology. So want you guys to give that some thought, and we will probably hopefully either have a volunteer today to join that committee, or we need to do some convincing to join that committee. Yeah.
Will we hear more about what's needed for that committee desk?
Okay, Wendy, could you share a little bit about what the procurement committee has done in the past?
I can specify which one.
Wendy, oh yeah, Wendy Napier. We have two Wendy's.
Good morning again, everyone. Good to meet the new folks with the Department of General Services representing Secretary Chaudhry.
You share a little bit about your roles with the procurement committee, because we're short a person on that committee with Jerry's passing a few years ago.
Sure, Gail. So the Department of General Services is the procurement agency, one of the three procurement arms of the state. There's MDOT, University System, and General Services. So we have an Office of State Procurement. So I know I have through the years taken any unusual procurement questions that we have back through our Office of State Procurement. So we have that expertise here. So if there is anyone else that wants to join the procurement committee, I just want you to know you'll be very well supported by DGS. You won't have to stand alone. We'll help guide the decisions. We have a lot of regulations in COMAR that Miriam can attest to, but we do follow those closely. So if anyone would like to even talk offline, Gail, I'm happy to give reassurances about procurement matters and the responsibilities of the committee.
And what kinds of things have you all dealt with as far as time demands of any of our volunteer extra members?
In the past, the time commitments have not been difficult. I feel like typically you guys give us about 2 weeks to get back on things. If for some reason there's a heavy workload in our agencies, we just discuss that and we work out the timeline. But I've always found in the past, typically we've been given 2 weeks to try to get information back.
And this would be reviewing contracts and that sort of thing.
Yes.
Okay. That help a little bit?
It does, I'll reach out to.
Okay. And did not introduce on our screen up there, Hanu, our HR person here at the Food Center Authority.
Hi, good morning.
Okay, so he's sitting in remotely as well.
Can I go backwards just for a moment? Also, the procurement committee, they review bid documents greater than 500,000, and they can approve procurements greater than 500,000 in the event of a procurement that must be issued, which cannot wait until the next regularly scheduled board meeting.
Right, but there's that when things are urgent.
So it's more of an urgency thing, we don't
Right,
generally go to anybody.
and we if we could fill that today, or if we can figure out some language to
I mean, I think with that information, I would probably.
okay, and
Yes.
yeah, and at this point, I would gladly entertain a motion. I would entertain a motion to elect Stephanie. I forget who that's.
Sure.
Thank you. I was gonna say Jordan, and I was wrong. Stephanie Jurger, to the procurement committee to serve from today through the end of the member's current term. Procurement committee consists of 3 board members, reviews bids, documents greater than $500,000 and may approve procurements greater than $500,000 in the event a procurement must be issued, which cannot wait until the next regularly scheduled board meeting. Okay,
So moved.
thank you, Carrie. I'll take a second.
Second.
Thank you, Susan. Any further discussion before she backs out? All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Same sign. All right, thank you so much and congratulations.
In an election speech.
No. The other, and I'll get back up. The other piece of housekeeping is that, just as things have evolved, we are also without a vice chair at this point. So I would like that reassurance of having a vice chair in the event that we need to use that person. We discussed it early on, and one of the first people that were interested in it moved out of state, which made Jim, of course, ineligible. So and again, I don't know that we need to act today. That role has not really been defined.
We can wait till the next meeting.
Yeah, in the past, so if you'd be interested, I would love to talk. Or Katie would love to talk to you. I think structurally, we just need to put that in place. So those are the little bit of housekeeping things that I have, but we'll go back to the minutes from our June meetings 5 and 12. We saw a lot of each other this spring and summer. Are in your packet and were sent out. So can I take, I'll take a motion to approve minutes from both the June 5th and June 12th minutes, if there are no corrections or questions on those.
I have one small correction to
Okay.
the June 12th minutes, the item about the investment policy. It reflects that we discussed that I would draft the policy. I don't recall discussed, but Mr. I believe it's Brown, Carlton Brown had asked that the Office of the Attorney General perhaps reach out to other agencies that have investment policies and collect some examples that the board could refer to, and I have done that.
Okay.
That's on page 5 of.
Yeah. And there it is, draft policy. That you gathered samples
Yes.
for us. Okay, terrific. Peggy, you just wanna clear that up, however. Okay, thank you. Jerry, reading this so closely, especially when your name's attached to something, I think that's our human tendency to go, yeah. Okay, so with that clarification, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for June 5th and June 12th. Okay, thank you, Susan. There's a second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, good. I love these swivel chairs here, so we're all good. Oh, and Ben has joined us. Ben is from the Controller's Office. Thank you, Ben. Good to have you with us. We have.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Sorry I was running late.
That's okay. That's okay. Okay, at this point, I will turn it over to Katie for Food Center Authority updates and there we go.
Great. Well, thanks, Gail. Well, I'm glad to be here, actually at a board meeting. I've been now with MFCA for a little over a month. And in that month, I've spent a lot of time trying to listen, trying to learn, get my feet under me, understand what we're doing. And I certainly appreciate the time each of the board members spent with me earlier in the summer. It's clear there's an incredible amount of experience and expertise around the table, and we're excited to be able to tap into that. I also want to note that, this has been a period of change and a period of uncertainty for the organization, and just really want to note how impressed I've continually been with the staff. We're a small team, folks wear a lot of hats, and I think as the board, you should feel really, really good about the flexibility and determination and dedication the staff has very clearly shown. And so I thank folks for giving me a warm welcome and helping me land here so far. The three focuses I've had in this first, 6 weeks or so. One is a understanding of internal processes and procedures. Two is getting to engage with our tenants. And third is getting up to speed on all of the special projects that are currently going on. So I'm going to give you just a little bit of updates in those three areas. First, on internal processes. This is, let's say, the unglamorous, unsexy part of what we do that you as the board are probably not going to hear a lot about. But I do want to give you a picture of it because there's a lot of staff time that goes into this work. And I think it's also really important in terms of how we as an organization are operating efficiently. So one of the first things folks are working on is taking a look at our payroll processes. We have had really strong processes in place in the past that has ensured folks have gotten paid on time and that we've had clean audits, which is wonderful. But I've encouraged staff to take a look at our processes to see, can we make things more efficient? Can we be spending fewer hours of staff time? Can we modernize what we are doing in such a way that will allow that process to go more smoothly, all while maintaining those high standards and making sure folks get paid on time and get paid accurately. So as a part of that, we are in the process of moving our maintenance and security staff away from physical time cards to electronic time entry. And so that's going to be a big change. There's already training that's gone on. There's going to be continued discussions for our team about how we do this best and make sure we're still crossing all of our T's and dotting all of our I's. But I just wanted to share that as an example of the types of process improvements we're looking to make over time here. Next up is on tenant engagement. We are working, and it's a big priority to me, to make sure that our tenants know that we have clear and open communication with them. Gary has been wonderful about taking me through the market and introducing me to folks wherever I can. I did sit down with all of the produce owners about 2 weeks ago and heard some of the issues that were top of mind for them. They have promised to share a written list of issues that they would like to engage with us further on. And we also have a tenant advisory board meeting, which is something that the produce tenants have as part of their lease as a formal way to advise us and engage with the authority. We have that meeting coming up on October 15th, where we'll be sharing a lot of information back and forth, and Jennifer Huffley and the operations team put that work together. I have also committed to doing one-on-one meetings with all of the tenants, produce, MFC, and Rock Hall. We're going to be doing that over the next couple of months. The process of those meetings are going to be to sit down and just hear one about each tenant's individual business to the extent they want to share, And two, hear kind of what's going well, where did they have questions, where do they have concerns? And then, so some of that information we can obviously handle on a one-on-one basis, but some of that is to aggregate the work in the conversations we're having as part of the tab for produce and more generally for MMC. And then related to that, at our next meeting, you'll also hear from Mary about our tenant survey results that have just come in. And so between those two ways, sort of the formal way with the survey and more informal in the conversations I'm having, we'll be able to report to the board sort of a state of the tenant relations and some of the things we're looking to do to continue to improve and strengthen those relationships. And then last, but certainly perhaps the bulk of my update is around special projects. There's a lot going on in the authority right now. First, I want to note that the produce market expansion project, which is, I know, of huge interest for the board for some time, is officially out for bid. Yay, yeah, exactly. Obviously, that represents a ton of time and effort for folks putting together the architectural and engineering drawings, all of the bid paperwork. It's been a huge process from across a whole bunch of teams here at MFCA. That went up for bid last Friday. We will be having a pre-bid meeting with any of the contractors that are interested in bidding next week. Then they'll have some time to submit questions to us. We'll share those answers with everyone who's interested in participating. And then the bids will be due to us on December 4th. So it's a big project. We want them to think carefully and bid appropriately. And obviously we have some holidays in there, so we wanted to give them sufficient time to do really thorough work. So this is where we get into the procurement committee. Because if we look at the calendar and we look at the beginning of December, we absolutely will be bringing this bid for discussion to the procurement committee. We may or may not need to also bring it to the full board. I think that will depend on what we get back. I think something that's really important for you all to understand in terms of how this bid went out. It includes information for the entire project, the entire dock expansion, but the bid is essentially broken up into sections. And so what we are asking contractors to do is provide us bids on each of those individual sections. Those in aggregate will give us an actual market on the street tested estimate for the entire cost of the project. But by bidding it in sections, we might be able to, or we might choose to award just a portion because that is what we have money on hand and are able to do. What those bids come in at remains to be seen. And so as through this process, we'll be able to find out, can we do a little or can we do a lot? And obviously there are a lot of pros and cons with some of those decisions. And so that's where we're going to very much want engagement for the board to ensure we're all aligned on however we end up going forward. So that's what's happening on produce expansion. Looking back just a little bit on produce expansion, it has, as you all know better than me, it has been a process getting to this point with architectural and engineering drawings to get to the point where we felt comfortable going up to bid. In March of this past year, you all had approved an increase to task order number 5, which is essentially our contract for that architectural and engineering services. Over the summer, I believe, I wasn't here, but what I've been told is that there was an urgent need to do additional work to make sure that the site was actually sound enough to handle this expansion. And so there were some test pits drilled, there was X-ray imaging done of the substructure and the substrate. And because of that, there are some additional costs associated with that task order. And so we're here today asking that the board increases that contract from, it was at $589,215. And we are asking you to increase it to $650,000 and sorry, I'm gonna say that one more time. 650 and 100. I don't know why this is such a part.
650, 130.
Yeah, thank you, yeah. It's an increase of $60,915. And then the other thing to note is we are essentially at the conclusion of that contract. And so you will not hear about task order 5 again. But that was work that was done over the summer that was essentially critical for the project to continue.
Right. So, and Katie and I had spoken very recently when all these numbers came together. I did not think it was necessary to have an emergency meeting. It was, I know $60,000 is a lot of money to all of us. But also with again, just considering the scope of the project. So, to document, I will accept a motion to approve the increase to the George Faith Associates GBA Task Order 5 from the previously board approved amount of $589,215 to $650,130, which is an increase of $60,915. This increase includes critical testing, test drilling, and mapping that was needed to assess existing structural and substrate conditions and an expanded project cost estimation fee. So, let me read that again.
No.
No. Again, hoping that we're keeping secrets within the last month. Knew that this meeting was coming up and we had these final numbers. So basically approving a motion to increase GBA's task order 5 from $589,215 to $651,130.
And there's update, 650.
650.
650,130. Yeah.
And there is a letter describing these changes at the back of your book, should you want to help. And there are, the full contract is also on the table if anybody wants to see the initial.
So that was the cores of the X-ray.
Okay. So is that a motion there?
Sure.
Carry a second. Any further questions? Concerns? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed from behind me?
No.
Okay. You're good, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Carlton's good with all of this. Go ahead.
It's Carlton. Hi, Carlton. We don't have a picture for you, but I know your voice, so it's I'm glad you're with us.
No, I've been in back here just haunting. It's okay.
Oh, keeping me honest. I appreciate that. Okay.
Okay, and Gail, if you're okay,
Yep.
move on. All right, so that's where we are with produce. There's obviously more conversation to happen there. If anyone would like additional details about the bid, Anya Lidner got to put together a lot of very detailed information. And so Anya is a great point of contact with have additional conversations there if anyone would like. The last thing I wanted to share about was our Maryland Market Center renovation project. This is to renovate several vacant units in MMC to bring them up to a common universal rentable standard. This contract was awarded on July 9th, and the actual work began about a month ago. We have bi-weekly status meetings with our contractor. As of earlier this week, the contractor indicates that they believe they are about 25% done with the project, and about 27% of the contract time has elapsed. However, this is a very complicated project just because each unit is a little different and there's just a lot to consider given our facilities. And so we are working to monitor this project very, very closely. Gary and his team are working much more frequently than every other week with the contractor and the superintendent they have on site. We also continue to work very closely with our architectural firm on this work just to make sure that the work that is being done meets what the contract calls for. So we'll continue to have additional updates there, but wanted you all to know that that project is well underway. And then the last thing I will note before I turn it over to Miriam to cover something is that I just want to note that I have an open door for board members in general. Please let us know if there's information that you don't have but would like. Or I know for some folks, it might have been a while since you had an opportunity to tour the market, or things have come up since you had your orientation. And so we're here. We're happy to continue to have conversations and continue to engage. But with that, I believe Miriam has something on investment.
The only, yeah, on the investment thing, on the produce market, project though, you are also doing bi-weekly updates with, the state.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
We are providing written updates to the State Department of Legislative Services and a whole host of other folks who have been engaged and interested in this project, yes.
Yeah, Cassie gets some.
Can you remind me how many units that are being
I was afraid you're gonna ask that, Gary.
seven, thanks.
Anything else for Katie at this point? Or from behind me? Okay. Gary.
Thank you. So I'm gonna do.
Sorry, hang on,
Yes.
just.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
here, it's
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
I know
yeah,
it's not
no,
on
I
me.
had, no, I had you a little
Alright.
wrong. That's fine. No,
Uh,
absolutely.
So just in follow-up to the comments about the June 12th minutes and the investment policy. Quick background for the new members. In April of 2025, the previous director of finance brought to my attention that she and the prior executive director had met with the chief investment officer from the state treasurer's office, who had brought to their attention that in 2013, a law had been passed requiring all authorities and public bodies to adopt a written investment policy. And a couple years ago, the state treasurer's office adopted regulations that require the chief investment officer to go around and make sure everybody's done it. And we could not ascertain any evidence that the MFCA had a written policy in place. Now, the MFCA's funds are with the state treasurer's office. They are invested, in a pool with other state funds. So it's not like the MFCA has been investing money and not having a policy directing that. But the MFCA is required by law to either develop its own written investment policy or sort of, co-sign whatever the state investment policy is. At the June 12th meeting, I believe board member Carlton Brown had asked if I could reach out to some other public entities and get copies of their policies for the board to consider and look at perhaps as a model. And I have done so. I will tell you that the policies used by other entities range from 3 pages to 135 pages. The bulk of them are between 10 and 13 pages and very closely model the state treasurer's local government investment policy document. The 135 page one belongs to the pension system, which for obvious reasons has their own reason for having, a very detailed investment policy. So I just need some guidance at this point from the board as to whether the board, how the board wants to proceed with the development of of an investment policy, whether they would like to create a subcommittee perhaps that would look into it and look at the various model policies, not the model policies, but other sample policies that are out there. Or if the board would like to delegate that responsibility to MFCA staff, the director of finance now. She and I could work together to put a proposal together. There's just nothing in our statute on this specifically, and I want to make sure that everybody's covered in terms of who will be responsible for making the recommendation on the policy.
Sure.
Did you say there are 2 options? We can develop our own policy or you can co-sign onto the state's investment policy?
Yes, but either needs to happen in writing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
In your research, did you find that most authorities went one way or the other, or was it sort of split?
My sense of things is most have co-signed with the state's local government policy. Which is why I think most of them clock in at that 13 pages. Yeah, exactly.
More wordsmithing and editing than.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's the pleasure of the group? And also, Mary, would you be comfortable kind of eyeballing these different things?
Yeah, I feel fine doing it if that's what the board would like us to do.
Okay. Carlton, since you had asked for the samples, would you be okay asking Mary and Miriam, the M&M, to work on this as a staff thing, or do you want to be involved looking over some of the ones that Miriam found? Are you still with us, Carlton? He's muted.
Oh, this is unmute.
Okay.
No, I'd be happy to look at some as well. Admittedly, I really like the idea of finance and legal looking at it more so than me. It's more of their better hands at this. So, but if you want me to serve on there and put in my 2 cents, I am more than happy to help.
Okay, great.
I'm happy to circulate them too.
Okay, if that's, I don't think we need a huge motion, but if that's the general consensus that Miriam will share her research with Carlton and anybody else who's interested or has that expertise, but that will rely on Mary's expertise and Miriam's legal expertise to get us something for the, is by the November meeting realistic or?
I think so, and the state treasurer's office, to my understanding, is also more than happy to be involved with providing advice as we're developing something like this.
Okay. By consensus, we're good with that, and thank you for keeping that on our radar. It kind of slipped off. Okay. Now, Gary always has exciting stuff going on.
So I want to just give a reminder for the stream restoration project. At the last meeting, I spoke about the direct meeting with the director and his team with the county, Howard County Director. And they still haven't given us the decision yet. We're still waiting on that. If we don't have a decision to mobilize and start the construction and have it finished by March 1st, there's a closed window for stream restoration from March 1st to June 15th. If we start in the middle of it and we don't have time, to finish it because of holidays and stuff like that due to a late starting period, then we will need to remobilize, which will cause a cost increase. Do you have any questions about that?
So we're waiting for Howard County.
We're waiting for Howard County Director to approve the project.
Okay.
Name is Howard County.
Here we go, you just down there.
So honored you'd like you to do that. Who is the?
I don't have this.
When would be a time period that maybe you, Katie, go and visit with them and just say, what's up? What's up?
Yeah, we can try to, I'm waiting to hear back from our stormwater contractor. He wanted me to give him another 2 weeks at least, hoping that something happens, but at some point, we're gonna have to either find out if we can or can't.
Okay,
Another 2 weeks from when?
From yesterday.
okay.
Thanks for asking.
Sure. All these dates, okay.
The other update was pretty simple, is our forest conservation property is located by, hope I say this right, M1 at NAFCO. And it's a partnership between NAFCO, MFCA, and NAFCO's contractor, Merit. So we have passed our first inspection. That inspection will give us a time frame up to 2027. But during that period, we're going to do quarterly inspections. We're going to do, check the signs, make sure the trees that we planted survive to get us up to 2027. And there will be a pre-inspection 6 months prior, because we do have a problem with a lot of debris from different people that are adjacent to the property. Well, I didn't want to say that. So that's the update on that. So we're good until 2027, provided we don't have to, do any other maintenance.
And how many trees did we plant?
17, sorry, 17.
17, okay. So hopefully they all live.
And I'll get the exact number in that. I think it was 17. But we have to keep them watered because of the season that they were planted. So cross your fingers, everything goes well.
Any questions for Gary on those specific projects? And at the last meeting, we were doing some credits.
Yeah, so I mean, if you want to.
Yeah, just
so initially, if we get the stream restoration complete, we'll get 28.4 credits. after we go through all of our inspections after that, they go out and they check the soil samples and stuff like that, we should get an additional 28.4. But there's a good chance of erosion or something that could happen to where it would be a little less than that. But this should be, with the credits that we'll get, if we decide to keep them in the bank like we talked about last time, we won't have to worry about our stormwater for at least, according to the contractor, at least 15 years. Because we'll have enough credits, provided we don't sell any credits.
Right, okay.
And provided we get all the credits that we will be able to earn at the end of the project. Just want to be clear on that.
Anything else for Gary, especially from our new folks? He's certainly stayed on top of all of our stewardship situations here. So appreciate that very, very much. And it was Mary. It's in your booklet, and it was also sent out. Yeah, the statement of revenue and expenses for the produce market as well as the market center.
So before I start on the R&Ds, I just wanted to give a quick update on the audit. The audit is due to the state by the end of September. I received what I hope to be basically a final draft from the auditor last night. Katie and I are still working on the management discussion and analysis piece, which is fine tuning some words. But we are on time and on target for meeting the 9:30 deadline. For the R&Ds, we call them R&Ds, even though it doesn't say R&D anywhere on these statements. I wanted to, just briefly go over, especially we do have some new board members, just kind of walk you through what these say. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because a lot of you all have heard it many times. But the purpose of these two statements is to basically show whether or not the markets have collected enough in entrance fees and direct bills from the tenants to cover the operating costs of the market for that fiscal year. Excuse me. Ordinarily, I would not be presenting July without having given you the June audit statements, but it's new fiscal year. So we don't have to wait on the prior year to start with, to show July or showcase July. So that is also why fiscal year 26 and fiscal year 25 match July 24 and July 25 on these statements. So the top portion of the R&D, which I think what means receipts and disbursements, is our miscellaneous revenue that we're collecting from other people entering the market. For the most part, it's our entrance fees. That's the primary generator. We also collect railroad fees, sometimes pallet sales, those types of things. It's not generally directly affiliated with the tenants. It's for people visiting the market. Now, the service expense reimbursement bill is the last line item right above deficit surplus. That is the amount that is billed to the tenants on a monthly basis. It's included in their rent charge. So the sum of those two is what basically tells us whether or not we've got a surplus or if we've got a deficit for the tenants. If there's a surplus, we give it back to the tenants. If there is a deficit, we will have to bill the tenants additional funds. And we bill it over 5 months, so it's not burdened tenants. Our goal is for our service expense reimbursement to match exactly. And we had a crystal ball, we would come up with the exact amount to charge the tenant every month. So that this would be zero at the end of any month. Currently for July, there's not too much to discuss. You will notice one thing I did want to point out too is that the total revenue and the entrance fees for the produce market are significantly more than the Maryland Market Center. That doesn't mean that we're having, drastically different vehicle count. The produce tab tenant voted to increase the entrance fees that are charged to the people that enter the market. So that is why there's a differential there between the two. I mean, there is less visitors, but it's also a function of the fact that they have a much higher rate. I think the max is 50 for produce, and I think the max at MMC is 25. 15. Okay. Thank you. So for the month of July, we're looking pretty good. We expect, so right now we have a surplus.
hopefully we will be zero at the end of the year. I do expect costs to go up in the winter. As you have snow removal, you have additional, utilities, stuff like that might be higher. So right now, it's a little early to say whether or not a tenant is going to get refund or not, but for now, we're looking pretty good. I would expect, like I said, in winter months, for the month, we would have a deficit, but year to date, we would hopefully have a surplus, or even better, we're not collecting over from the tenants and letting them keep their money, and it's perfect and it's zero. Produce market is looking pretty good right now, we have a surplus. I think that seems reasonable, and then the MMC, we also have a surplus of about dollars, so that is the R&Ds or revenues, and so does anyone have any questions? Any questions from everybody?
And I guess it's not a question, but for your crystal ball projection, you all projecting how in first quarter chunks, or how do you account for like the snow? That's usually big.
So the amount that is billed to the tenant is a flat amount each one. So the goal is that we would have a surplus in the beginning of the beginning and the end.
And it's just how.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Anything from our Ben, our controller's office, or anybody on the screen on the R&Ds?
Nope, none for me.
So I will entertain a motion to accept the statement of revenue and disbursements. With a note that they will also be given to the tenant advisory meeting on October 5th.
For both.
For both, right?
For just produce.
Just produce.
Sorry.
Yeah, we don't have it.
Was there any other resolution?
She just asked a question.
I'm sorry.
Okay, okay, now she made the motion. So this is the motion to accept the statement of revenues and disbursements. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
Can I ask?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mary, did you say your audit responses were due at the end of the month, or you're getting the final audit?
We'll have the final audit issued hopefully early next week before the 30th. It's due to, we provide the governor, we send the audits to a bunch of people, but we'll upload the information to the treasurer's office by the 30th.
We have a motion on the floor to accept the R&Ds. Any further questions? Where, here or there? So, here. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Same sign? Okay. Thank you, Mary. Okay, anything else? Anything else from your end? Over here? Anything from the magic screen? Oh, Fred's behind. And again, just a reminder that if you would like to visit about the vice chair position, we'd like to kind of get that resolved at our November meeting, which is November 8th. Or November meeting, thank you. 20th. Sounds like.
Peggy confirmed, but I think it's the 20th.
Yeah.
I see, it's every time we're planning.
Another first meeting. 2018. It's another
meeting that day.
And that is the budget meeting.
And then the budget, yeah, so
Everybody should be kind of prepared, and it's a pretty important meeting.
if folks can make arrangements to be here, that's really helpful.
Yeah, much easier.
I appreciate Mary shadowing in the past and being a part of that in the past, and hopefully it's not been too.
No, I feel pretty good with the way that we are.
Terrific. Okay, that's good. This would be a record, but if there's no other business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Okay. Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next time, and thank you. I think we caught all of our guests and visitors. So thank you all for logging in, and good to meet Monica. And again, you haven't visited with her?
Not yet.
No, okay, so give you a few weeks with your personal situation, and maybe come and visit with Katie or whatever. Join you if that would be helpful or not. So I'm glad to have you on. So everybody else stay safe, enjoy this rain.
I know it's like early for lunch, but please go back and grab some food and take it. We're not normally done this early. So.
Yeah.
There's lunch back there.